Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're really digging into something crucial for English learners. How to truly understand spoken English.
Yeah, moving beyond just hearing the words.
Exactly. We've got some great stuff from the Listen to Speak English podcast with Alex and Jamie. Their goal, like ours, is basically helping you grasp the actual meaning.
It's interesting, isn't it? Even advanced learners sometimes struggle with listening. Their experiences really highlight why.
Totally. And they start with this, well, it's perfectly relatable story from Jamie. Kind of embarrassing, actually.
Oh, you mean the airplane one?
Yeah. Tell us about that. Such a good example.
Right. So Jamie mentioned trying to compliment someone's airplane seat. Nice gesture, right? But instead she said, "I love your sheet." Just that tiny vowel sound difference.
Oof. Yeah, you can imagine the look she got.
Exactly. A small slip. But it really shows how these little sound things can cause, well, big confusion.
It really does. Funny, but it nails why focused listening is so important. It's not just vocabulary, it's those, audio details.
And that story leads them into outlining these 5 key challenges learners often run into with listening. It gives us a really clear roadmap for today.
Okay, perfect. Let's jump into that first challenge they mentioned. Connected speech. Sounds a bit technical, maybe?
It does, but it's basically about how native speakers naturally smush words together.
Smush words. Okay.
Yeah, like linking them, reducing sounds. It's not lazy speaking, it's just the natural rhythm. But it can make familiar words sound, well, completely alien when they run together.
Right, like the words just kind of melt into each other. They used, "Do you want to go?" as an example, didn't they?
They did. How it often becomes, "Do you want to go?" Much faster, kind of fused in the middle.
Yeah, "Do you want to go?" You hear that all the time.
Exactly. And they had other good ones too, like "Did you eat?" Often sounds like "Ju eat."
You eat. Jamie thought it sounded like chew it, right? Which just shows how confusing it can be.
It really does. And another one, "I have to go," can easily slide into "I have to go."
Have to go.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but different.
Definitely. Or even more compressed, like, "What are you going to do?"
Yeah.
I mean, "What you going to do?"
What you gonna? It feels like the words are literally squeezed.
That's a great way to put it, linguistic squeezing almost. It's part of the flow.
Yeah.
But importantly, they gave some practical tips for tuning your ear to this.
Okay, good. What did they suggest?
2 main things. First, take short clips from shows you, like they mentioned, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Friends, that sort of thing, and just listen and repeat those short bits over and over.
Why is that repetition helpful?
Well, it builds that auditory memory, doesn't it? And maybe even muscle memory for speaking. Focusing on short, fun clips keeps you engaged, and you can really zoom in on how those sounds link up.
Makes sense, like training your ear to expect those connections. And the second tip.
Using lyrics training apps.
Ah, okay. How do those work, and why are they good for connected speech specifically?
Well, they combine music, which is fun, with active listening. You hear a song, but some words are missing, and you have to type them in as you listen. So it forces you to really follow the flow and catch words, even when they're, sung quickly or linked together, not just pronounced perfectly clearly like in a textbook.
So using real-world stuff like music helps you decode that natural flow. Okay, let's move to the second challenge. Mishearing similar sounds. Jamie had another story for this one, didn't she?
She did. The cafe story, where she wanted paper but asked for pepper.
And got a pepper shaker.
Yep. Another perfect example of how tiny sound differences, especially vowels, can totally change the meaning. Funny, but potentially confusing.
It really drives home that point. Small sound shifts, big meaning shifts in English. They break down some specific tricky sound pairs too.
Yes, and this is where even a little bit of phonetics awareness helps, like the difference between E in bit and I in beat.
The short I versus the long E.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That length is what separates ship from sheep, for instance. Crucial difference.
Absolutely. And then there's E like in bat versus in butt.
Right. And Jamie seemed to have a decent grasp of those symbols too, which was interesting. It shows you kind of absorb these differences over time.
You develop an ear for it, maybe. And then the classic mix-up, D in bed versus A in bed.
Yeah, those get confused a lot. Jamie's tip was, good think F for bed and ah for bad. Simple cues can really help distinguish them.
Those little memory aids are useful. But okay, recognizing is one thing. How did they suggest actually training your ear for these?
Well, they recommended minimal pairs apps. Things like ALS Speak or Sounds, the pronunciation app.
Minimal pairs apps, why are they good for this?
Because they're designed specifically for it. They play two words that differ by only one sound, like ship and sheep, and you have to identify which one you heard. It's like targeted ear training.
Oh, workout for your ears. Okay. And then tongue twisters.
Yeah. Fun, but also effective. We know she sells seashells, but they also mentioned a tougher one. I slit a sheet. A sheet I slit.
Oh, wow. That one is tricky. What's the point of torturing yourself with those?
Well, they force you to articulate those similar sounds really precisely. It trains your mouth, which then helps your ear hear the difference better when others speak. You're trying not to stumble, so you focus more.
Okay, that makes sense. Train the mouth to train the ear. They also had that quick example, didn't they? It's so hot outside.
Yeah. Makes you stop and think, wait, did they say hat or hot?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even simple words need that close listening sometimes. A little ear warm-up, like they said.
Precisely.
All right, so we've tackled connected speech and similar sounds. What about that feeling? And I think a lot of learners get this that panic when you hit a word you just don't know.
Ah, yes. Jamie described it really vividly, like her brain throws an error message.
Word not found, stopping all systems. Yeah, I can relate to that feeling. Your comprehension just stops.
Super common. You freeze on that one unknown word and miss everything else.
So frustrating. But Alex and Jamie said the key is not to freeze, right? It's about using context.
Exactly. It's amazing how much you can often figure out just from the words around the mystery word. Their example was good. Despite the traffic, the meeting was notwithstanding.
Okay, notwithstanding. Maybe you don't know that word.
Right. But despite the traffic and the meeting was, strongly implies the meeting happened anyway, right? So notwithstanding probably means something like despite that or nevertheless.
You get the gist without knowing the exact word. So what was their practical tip for dealing with this in the moment?
They called it mentally circle it. Basically, acknowledge you don't know the word, make a mental note maybe, but keep listening to understand the overall message. You can always look it up later.
Keep the flow going. Don't get bogged down.
Exactly. And they did that little role play. The ubiquitous use of smartphones has changed our habits.
Okay, ubiquitous.
Even if you don't know it, use those smartphones. Change our habits suggests it means something like widespread, common, everywhere.
Yeah, you can infer it means they're everywhere. Jamie figured that out too.
She did. So it reinforces that idea. Keep the big picture. Don't let one word derail you. Use the context.
Makes sense. Keep listening. Use the clues. Don't panic.
That's the core message. Use your linguistic detective skills.
Okay. Now shifting gears a bit from single words to the music of English, stress and intonation. They called these game changers.
They really are. English is stress timed, which basically means some words get more emphasis or longer, louder, while other words, the unstressed ones, get reduced, spoken faster. This rhythm is key to meaning. And intonation, the pitch going up or down, adds even more information.
And they had that brilliant example sentence, I didn't say you stole my money. How does changing the stress change everything there?
It's fascinating. Stress, it means someone else said it. Stress say. Maybe you implied it or wrote it. Stress you.
Implies someone else stole it.
Exactly. Stress stole. Maybe you just borrowed it. Maybe it was someone else's money. Stress money.
Implies you stole something else, like my pen.
Right. The same words, totally different implications just based on which word gets the emphasis.
Amazing. And they actually suggested saying it out loud, shifting the stress. That sounds like a really good exercise to feel the difference.
It really is. Connects the sound to the meaning physically. And their other example, content, meaning happy.
Versus content, meaning what's inside something.
Yeah. The only difference is which syllable is stressed. Get it wrong, and you cause confusion.
So stress isn't just like optional flavor, it's part of the meaning.
Absolutely fundamental. And they suggested exaggerating stress to learn, like saying photograph PHO really strongly versus PHO to graph.
Why does that exaggeration help?
It helps you internalize the pattern. By overdoing it, you really feel where the stress naturally falls in different words. It trains your sense of English rhythm.
Makes sense. And I like the singing analogy too, mimicking singers like Adele or Sam Smith.
Yeah, because singers often use stress and intonation very deliberately for emotional effect, right? So it's a natural way to absorb those melodic patterns.
Yeah.
Makes it less like a dry grammar lesson.
Definitely more fun. Okay, one last major challenge area. Different accents. That could be a big one.
Oh, for sure. If you've only ever really listened to, say, standard American English, Then hearing a strong Scottish or Australian accent can feel like a completely different language sometimes. Jamie mentioned needing subtitles for Peaky Blinders, right?
Yeah, the Birmingham accent threw her.
Yeah.
So what was their advice for tackling this idea of accent rotation?
Basically, yeah. Don't just stick to one type of English. Actively seek out variety. Listen to BBC News one day, an Australian podcast the next, maybe something Irish.
Mix it up regularly.
Exactly. Gradually, your ear gets more flexible. You start recognizing the different sound patterns, the different rhythms, even different vocabulary sometimes.
And they had that simple but brilliant tip about playback speed on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, the 0.75x speed trick. So useful.
How does that help specifically with accents?
It just gives your brain a little more time to process, you know? When an accent is unfamiliar, things can sound really fast and run together. Slowing it down just slightly can make a huge difference in catching the words and distinguishing the sounds without making it sound too unnatural.
It lowers the overwhelm factor. And they also said, importantly, that it's okay not to understand everything immediately, right?
Absolutely. Be patient with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Getting used to a new accent takes time and exposure. It's a gradual acclimatization process.
It's not like a switch you flip.
Not at all. And they mentioned that fun accent challenge they did, playing clips of Scottish, Indian English, Southern U.S. accents. Even just hearing about that highlights the diversity and the fact that you can train your ear.
Okay, so lots of challenges, but also practical strategies. Now, they also tackled a couple of listener questions, which seemed really relevant. First was from Diego about understanding fast talkers. So common.
So common. Native speakers can talk incredibly fast, and yeah, words just blur. Their advice was sound, though. Try to break it down. Listen for chunks or common phrases.
Like at the end of the day, or you know what I mean.
Exactly. Even if you miss some individual words, catching those familiar phrases helps you stay oriented and get the general drift.
And Jamie also suggested shadowing, right? Repeating like a parrot.
Yeah, shadowing is great for fast speech. You're trying to mimic the speaker in almost real time. It forces you to tune into the pace, the rhythm, the linking. It helps train your brain and your mouth to keep up.
Sounds intense, but effective. And the second question was from Priya about stopping that habit of mentally translating everything from English back to your native language.
Ah, the translation hurdle. It really slows down comprehension and fluency.
So what was the suggestion there? Jamie's sticky notes.
Yeah, that simple trick. Label stuff around your house, the chair, the window, the computer, with sticky notes in English.
How does that help break the translation habit?
It starts building a direct link in your brain between the English word and the actual thing or concept instead of going English native language concept.
Yeah. Bypassing the middleman.
Exactly.
Hmm?
It encourages you to start thinking directly in English, even in small ways. It's about building those direct neural pathways.
Makes sense. A gradual retraining.
Precisely. Crucial for fluency.
Okay, so Alex and Jamie left their listeners and us with some homework, which I think is great, really putting this into action. Let's recap those exercises.
Yeah, action is key. First, they said pick a short video clip, maybe a movie scene, YouTube bit, whatever, and try shadowing it. Record yourself. Then listen back. See where you struggled, where your pronunciation was off.
That self-correction is powerful. What was the second task? Watching a video.
Right. Watch a YouTube video first without any subtitles. Just listen. Then watch it again with the English subtitles on.
And the point of that is?
To see exactly what you missed. Maybe you got the gist, but the subtitles show you the specific words or phrases that tripped you up. Helps you pinpoint your weak spots.
Good diagnostic tool. And the bonus.
Do a minimal pairs quiz online. We talked about those. Great for drilling down on those tricky similar sounds like ship sheep. Quick, easy, instant feedback usually.
Okay, solid homework tasks.
Yeah.
And finally, Jamie had that fun idea encouraging people to share their own embarrassing misheard moments online.
Yeah, like their own seat stories.
Yeah.
Using the podcast's handle. It builds community, right? Shows everyone that making mistakes is totally normal, even fun.
Takes the pressure off. We've all been there.
Exactly. Turns embarrassment into connection.
So, for everyone listening, your homework is set. Try those exercises. Shadow, watch with and without subtitles, do a minimal pairs quiz. See how it goes.
Definitely give them a shot.
And looking ahead, our next deep dive builds right on this. We'll be getting into strategies for how to actually start thinking in English.
Ooh, that's a big one. Moving beyond translation to direct thought in English. That's really key for fluency.
It really is. So join us next time as we explore how to make that shift.
Looking forward to it.